This is the Thoughtful Travel Podcast. I'm your host, Amanda Kendall of the notaballerina.com travel blog. Every episode, I'll share travel tales from several fellow travel lovers, and together we hope to entertain and inspire you, remind you of some of your own great travel experiences, and encourage you to hit the road again soon. Hello and welcome to episode 370 of the Thoughtful Travel Podcast. This is part 6, the final instalment of the Life Diaries, Europe 1985, in which we travel to the UK, Ireland, Singapore, and finally home to Western Australia after 6 months away. It's very sad to reach the end of this series. During 2025, these episodes have been travelling back in time to the most important trip of my life, the one that set me up to always be curious about the world because, of course, it happened 40 years ago this year, way back in the 80s. During the Van Life Diaries Europe 1985 series, I'm reliving this 6-month budget motorhome trip my family took around Western Europe when I was just 9 years old. I've interviewed my dad to help me with this while we look through our old family photo albums, and I'm also lucky to have access to my late mum's travel diaries from the time. Before we begin, I want to pay my respects to the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, where I'm recording this podcast today. And I also want to say a huge thanks to the sponsor of this series, Context Travel. They've been operating walking tours in cities around the world since 2003, been a certified B Corp since 2011, and they find incredibly interesting and qualified subject matter experts to take you on a very special tour. More from Context Travel during the episode. Last episode, we were meandering through Scandinavia, and in our final weeks of the trip, we headed back to the UK with a car ferry trip from Bergen in Norway to Newcastle in northern England. Then we immediately headed further north. Then we moseyed up to Scotland.
Scotland, right, yes. Where the building, the surrounds where they have the Edinburgh tattoo, amazed me how small it was as an area. I just couldn't believe they could get all that activity in there, and it was such a small area. And yet they had tourist buses all over the place. It was incredible.
Because you'd seen it on TV?
Yes, I was familiar with it, yeah. And when I've seen it in subsequent years, I still can't imagine how they got it all in there.
Yeah.
A brilliant episode. Exercise in tourism. I remember with all these things, when the same people visit the same place, they take away different versions of it. And the only true version is the one you give. Everyone else is wrong.
That is like the best description of tourist behaviour ever. My mum's diary gives a good summary of our first days in Scotland, when it seems we were pretty busy. Into Edinburgh, not as large as I had thought. Old buildings, interesting. Parked, and just as we were organising a ticket, along came a warden and said our road tax was not current. Now BK off to post office to fix that. £55 for 6 months. Still, I guess we won't get fined. Looked at Edinburgh Castle, more a fortress, interesting. The Edinburgh tattoo is held there in August. Then a look at Greyfriars Bobby statue and grave of John Gray, Master. On to St Andrews to see the golf courses, stacks of tourists. Courses right on sea. Through Dundee and stopped at Farm Caravan Park, just about 12 miles from Perth. One of my vivid memories from that trip is visiting the statue of Greyfriars Bobby, who was a dog who had apparently guarded the grave of his owner for some 14 years. I remember my parents bought me the book about it as well, and I just found it so intensely sad at the time. Anyway, Dad and I continued to look through the photos from our time in Scotland. Oh, St Andrews?
Oh, yes. I didn't have a game of golf there.
No.
I wasn't particularly impressed with the course either.
Oh, really? Can you remember?
Yeah, what I could see of it. The clubhouse was probably the better part of it.
Yes.
But perhaps I'm too critical. It was a pretty good scarecrow in that paddock there at Balmoral.
Oh, Balmoral Castle.
Yes, it's great.
And Loch Ness. I do remember going to Loch Ness.
What a wonderful tourist promotion thing.
Yeah, exactly.
This is all imagination. Fancy pictures and stories and searches. It's great stuff. But again, doesn't mean anything.
No, it's just a pond.
It's a big pond. It's probably bringing in a big dollar.
Yeah.
Or should I say a pound? If only I could dream up something like that would raise some funds.
Yeah, I don't think you can plan it. It
just happens.
It just happens, and it's just weird.
Probably.
My mum's diary continues. On along Loch Ness. A bit misty, but sun trying to come out. A lot of mist here, as in Norway. Loch Ness exhibition. Super tourism. Just pictures, etc. Around lochs, quite pretty, like gentle fjords. Over to Isle of Skye by ferry. £3 for 5 minutes journey. Quite pretty, but all small farms and cottages. Looked at Crofter's cottage. Camping on wharf at Armadale. My mum didn't like the price of that ferry trip, but Google tells me they built a bridge there in 1992, so not all that long after we were there. I also have some memories of the Isle of Skye, as I discussed with my dad. I remember going to the I vaguely remember going to the Isle of Skye because I remember it being very pretty.
I do remember the sheep, really shaggy sheep. The wool looked like they'd been put through a washing machine and a dryer.
Yeah, that's true. It's all long and like a head of hair rather than a sheep.
Like a mop.
Yeah. That's a good description.
And the Crofter's cottage looks not entirely unlike the old shack we had at Beaufort.
There's some similarities.
The old one, yeah.
What's a crofter?
It's like a shepherd, somewhat similar. He lives in pretty ordinary conditions and like a subsistence farmer on a small scale.
Yeah, okay.
But they get to live in it for life. There's something about tenure, as I recall.
Oh. From Skye, we continued south through Scotland, pausing at a few places along the way, as my mum's diary reports. Ben Nevis, highest mountain in Britain. Lots of people walk up it. Look at Ben Nevis and on to Killen, pretty around Loch area. Glencoe, very rocky, quite attractive. A lot of people take walks in hills. Hills so bare and no villages for miles. Scotland not as densely populated as I thought. And the next day, on this morning to Auchentoshan Distillery, a lovely lass as guide and interesting tour. Through Glasgow, typical city, didn't stop. A look at Gretna Green, tourists galore. My dad expanded a little more about our experience in Glasgow.
In Glasgow we struck and we went to go around the block, and we were looking to find somewhere, probably somewhere to park the motorhome, and we asked this policeman. Well, he gave us such a torrent of words, none of which we could understand, so we set off on our own, and a few minutes later we came across this policeman again.
Oh no!
We just kept going.
And then we were back into England and the Lake District, which was significant to me now since I returned there just last year for our friend's wedding. Do you remember Lake Windermere at all?
There's a lot of lakes and places where you can use ferries and things like that. Europe.
They do have a lot more water internally than we do.
Yes, indeed. It's safe water to travel on too.
Yeah.
Beatrice Potter's cottage.
Yes, we didn't go there this time either. It seemed like it was very, very, very touristy.
That's part of the problem.
Yeah.
Everything gets overworked.
Mum's diary gives us some more detail about this time. Dull morning, though fine. Into Keswick. Millions of people. Shopped. Also got parking ticket. And on to see Wordsworth's cottage at Grasmere. Lovely old stone houses at Grasmere. On to see Beatrix Potter's house. Very well kept and nice. On ferry, 85p, to go across Lake Windermere instead of the drive along the very, very narrow roads. Camped at lovely park, caravan club at Sedgwick, washing facilities too. Decided to stay another day. Best park yet. I enjoyed looking these places up on the map and seeing how close we were to retracing these steps on our stay there last year. It was fun. My mum then describes what we got up to in Wales, where unfortunately our timing coincided with the local school holidays. Rain still. A nuisance. Despite numbers of people, we will go on to Anglesey. Visited Carnarvon Castle. More a fort than a castle. Interesting town, quite neat. More rock walls along road. Rain eased off. It came down in buckets and continuously before, a real pain. Camped at Holyhead. Met John Hooper from Sydney. Methodist minister at Sheffield for 2 years, transferred to Brisbane as hotel chaplain. I love we were always meeting new people and my mum always kept the details of them. A couple of days later, we were still in Wales near the Bodnant Gardens. Bodnant Park. Lovely gardens and very nice park. Stay today. Amanda and I walked into village. A little rain. Sunny afternoon, which was lovely. Dinner and a walk into village again for beer at pub. Amanda and Zoe played cards with publican Mike. It cracks me up that my sister and I were apparently playing cards with the pub owner. I don't remember that part. My dad and I then got to the photographs of our time in Wales and then England again, and we included some added reminiscing when we got to meet up with our friends Pookie and Jean again. You might remember them from the Greece episode, the most loveliest English couple who we travelled with for quite some time. So we're in Wales.
This photograph shows a house on an island.
Oh, like
right
that
in the
little
middle
bit
of
there.
nowhere, yeah.
Wow, imagine living there. How weird.
Have to row across each morning to go to school or something.
I'm disappointed there's no photos of Welsh town names that no one can pronounce. Oxford.
An original town hall. That's not big in my memory bank, Amanda.
No, mine neither, I must say.
Oxford. I do remember that they had beautifully grassed lawns around the place.
Like in perfectly kept.
Yeah, well, beautifully maintained.
Yeah.
And I did expect a great big single university. I was surprised to find bits and pieces of it all around the place.
Now this I like. We got back to catch up with Jean and Pookie in Norwich.
Oh, yeah.
Our friends from Greece.
He was an interesting character.
He looks much younger than I remembered him.
Yes, he does too. That was my impression too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He wouldn't have been that old anyway.
Were they retired or not?
No, he was a dabbler. He'd buy some fruit from somewhere and then sell it somewhere else. Oh. He did a bit of that. Oh. Journeyman, wholesaler, middleman, everything. Wherever he could see a shilling to be made, he was there. That's my understanding.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I didn't remember.
They were visitors to Europe every year, as I understand it.
That's my memory of it too. Amazing, hey?
I taught him how to make a toaster. Well, this is with going back to Crystal Palace. I tried to buy a toaster there.
For the van?
Yeah, for the motorhome. A simple piece of virtually fly wire on which you hold the toast, the bread, and hold it over a flame, and it becomes toast.
Easy.
Well, when I tried to buy one of those that are already made, and very often around hardware stores in Australia, the fellow said, no, we don't have those. He says, we get a lot of inquiries for them, but... So I bought another toaster. And this was described as a French toaster. It was like a square tower and solid sheets on the four sides with holes punched in it. And it was the most stupid thing I ever bought. It was crazy.
It didn't work.
No, it didn't work. So with seeing Pookie there reminded me that in Igamanitsa, I bought some material from the hardware store and made one.
Which was like normal, like a quote-unquote, for us, normal kind of...
It was a bit rough around the edges, but it did make
like
toast.
Just the flat, and it keeps the bread on top of the...
Yes.
On top of the heat.
Yeah.
Flip it over, you've got toast.
And it did what we wanted. I showed Pookie how to do that, and we made one for him.
Oh.
And away we went.
He probably made toast on it, or they probably made toast on it for decades to come. I wonder.
I hope so. Norwich, that's where we were. That's where Pookie came from.
Yeah. We look like we're having a good time.
Oh, well, they were great. They were really good.
I have a photo of these toasters, so you will have to check the show notes to see what we're talking about. My mum's diary gave more details about how we actually caught up with Jean and Pookie, which we began planning once we reached Oxford. Looked for Jean and Pookie's telephone number at library and met Chinese student from Brisbane, camped at Oxford. Next day, decided to go to Norwich and see if Jean and Pookie are home, so all up early and off by 8:30 a.m. Passed through Cambridge and on to Norwich. Wow! Pookie and Jean home, and we arrived about 4 p.m, all very excited. Talk. Met Tim, Jean's son who may go to Australia. Late night, but super to see them. The next day, sleep in, but off to Norwich and looked through museum. Very interesting. Lunch in a pub with Pookie and Jean. Lovely, and home, sun just out. A lovely evening with Jean and Pookie. And then the sad last day. Nice morning. All went for a walk, then coffee and time to go. We didn't really want to leave. Zoe and Amanda tearful. Amanda especially. Me sad too. Jean and Pookie people we will not forget. Now, if you're paying close geographical attention, you might think we're crisscrossing the country a bit randomly, and you'd not really be wrong. My mum's diary explained that we had hoped to get over to Ireland earlier, but with the school holidays, we couldn't get a ferry booking for around the time we'd hoped, so we ended up travelling east again before going west and back over to Ireland. So we also, this is confusing, this meant we actually next headed south. We spent time in Portsmouth and then on to Plymouth, which my dad and I discussed. But a quick fact check ahead of this, we mentioned the French Armada, but we definitely mean the Spanish.
Plymouth.
The Plymouth swimming beach is concrete steps, which to an Australian is kind of wrong.
Absolutely. Now, this is where Sir Francis Drake had time to play his game of bowls.
Before
the French Armada.
That's right. That's the story.
We've got time to finish this game, he said, before we knock over the French. Something along those lines.
Somewhat arrogant, isn't it? Although maybe keeping calm.
Yes, yeah.
Maybe not a terrible strategy.
This is a situation, Amanda, that's great. There's so little space around.
Mm-hmm.
Here, this fellow's got his vehicle and he's taken his boat off the trailer, and then he's managed to get the trailer up on top of the vehicle. It's incredible.
Because there's no space to park it with the with
shortage of
trailer.
Space. Yeah.
That is quite clever, isn't it?
Amazing.
Yeah, here where we have all this space, and so we just have these very long car parks at those kind of boat launching ramps. And down to Land's End. It now costs money to have this photo taken.
Does it really?
It was quite a while ago. I was there, 2004 or 5. So 20 years ago already. If you wanted to take that photo, you had to pay money.
Well, there's a wharf here somewhere, and we stayed there overnight in the motorhome, and in the middle of the night, a foghorn started up. We got no rest. This damn foghorn kept going. Because a fog had come in, so the responsibility for the lighthouse people was to keep this foghorn going. And man, did they ever do that!
Were we just staying? Were we in a caravan park or just in the
motorhome?
Just free camping?
Yeah.
Guess that's what you get
for free camping.
My mum's version confirms some of this and adds a tale of an interesting side business. On to Land's End. Bit bare and rocky. Few attractions, not much. Lucky to have fine afternoon to see. Free camped parking area. Met chap from Manchester at Land's End. Friend of his goes to Ireland 2 to 3 times a week to buy scotch duty-free and bring home. 6 of them were going 3 times a week, buying 6 bottles, taxi to Dublin and sell to publican, going half in profit. Back to ship and buy theirs to take home. Pay £6 a bottle, sell in Dublin for £14. The next night, fog came in overnight, and from about 1 a.m, the foghorn sounded every 30 seconds, a real pain. From here, we spent a little more time in Cornwall, including a high tea in St Ives, that popular seaside town I actually returned to many years later and really enjoyed. But then it was finally time to catch our ferry over to Ireland. Context Travel offers walking tours across Ireland and the UK and in Singapore too. You may recall a couple of years ago I chose my hike in Japan based on following a poet's footsteps, so it should be no surprise that my pick in Ireland is the Dublin Literature Tour, visiting key sites connected to greats like James Joyce, Samuel Beckett and Oscar Wilde. Up in Scotland, I'd like to try another lesser-known neighbourhood walk with the Dean Village Tour in Edinburgh, guided by enthusiastic historians. And in Singapore, since one of my favourite things to do is eat, I'm keen to try the Singapore Food Tour centred on hawker centre culture. I'm totally sold because the walk begins with a kaya toast snack, which is my go-to treat in Singapore, even when I'm only passing through the airport. Don't forget you can get a 15% discount on any Context Travel tour using the code ThoughtfulTravel at contexttravel.com. All right.
Fishguard ferry to Ireland, duty-free comes to mind. Not that we were interested in doing that, but that was one of the reasons why. And I'm not sure which way the stuff was going, but it was part of the trip. If you're going to go to England or to Ireland, one way or the other,
it was
you
cheap.
would make sure you got some duty-free product to take.
Yeah.
It may have been cigarettes and grog. I don't remember. I know.
Yeah.
So, the bloody castle. My goodness. What a take. What a take.
Please explain the Blarney Castle.
Well, the rock is down behind you there, I think, and they lower you by your ankles down, and so you can kiss the Blarney Stone. They make a fortune, I think, out of all the stuff that falls out of people's pockets if they're tipped upside down. Another of those little tourist things that draws people from everywhere, and it is all Blarney.
Exactly. And also, I don't know, it just seems very unhygienic to be kissing this rock that thousands of people have been kissing. It's no wonder I'm not a big bucket list traveller. I was clearly schooled from a young age not to be taken in by any tourist trap. Not only did my dad scoff at the Blarney Stone when we chatted more recently, but my mum wrote this way back then. Into Cork, big place, not very interesting. Drove to Blarney and climbed the stairs of the castle to see the Blarney Stone. At £1.50 per person, the Irish are not stupid, a real take. It's so interesting that both my mum's diary from the time and my dad's recollections 40 years later often overlap and focus on what's similar or different between our home and the places we visited. Clearly, I was also taught to tune into these matters. When we reached the Ring of Kerry, my mum wrote, "Hurrah, son, nice day, off to the Ring of Kerry. Amazing the number of new homes and up to say 10 years old being built or just finished, modern as ours. Fixed windows apart from small windows for ventilation. Usually nice lawns and gardens, quite pretty." You can see the real estate agent in my mum. And in discussions with my dad, Ring of Kerry.
Ring of Kerry, yeah. That's the only place around that area in Ireland where the housing is sort of spread out. It's not all on top of one another. It's sort of like Australia, where there's a farm here and a house, and a little further on there's another house and a farm. Not all in a 6 or 7 story building.
Interesting. And then we headed north along the east coast of Ireland. Farms right over coast hills, no trees. Cliffs of Moher, impressive. Drive through to Galway, interesting. Different scenery, more enjoyable than Kerry. In fact, more pleasant than any scenery for a while. Galway, not a large town. Rain again. Into camp, not bad. Very windy. So after about 10 days or so in Ireland, we took the ferry back west, and before long we were seeing some of the last important sites for us in England, including Stonehenge, though we also spoke about the Western Australian replica.
Stonehenge, which brings me to a question. Have you been to the Stonehenge in Albany yet?
No, Esperance.
Esperance.
No, I haven't. I really wanted to go, but when I went to Esperance for work, I didn't have my own car, so I had to rely on my colleagues who didn't have time. So,
but you know, it is a wonderful gimmick. They've got this enormous car park over the road here.
Oh.
Not in Esperance.
At the real one.
Yeah. With an underpass, big parking area.
But can you still go up as close like that? Yeah. Okay. But there's a big car park.
Probably have to pay a fee.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, exactly. I went past Stonehenge 20 years ago or so when Donna lived not far from there, and we just drove past. It was after the closing time or whatever. So we just okay, hi Stonehenge, because we'd been to Bath for the day.
Oh, right. I think we had to look at the baths here and the public bath somewhere there, and it looked like a muddy old water tank.
Yes, that's also my more recent experience. My mum also mentioned Bath, but more positively. On to Bath and hard to find park. Nice one with free hot water and a laundromat and only £4.75, so clean clothes and us clean as well. All tired after the ferry. Bath, nice town, rather graceful. And this marked the end of an era because we returned to London then, and after a few days back in the Crystal Palace Caravan Park, we gave up our campervan home. Fine, and so off to clean the van. Yes, van cleaned and vacuumed. Into Derek Turner and Roland, they were pleased to see us and very helpful. Derek had a flat vacant and offered it to us. East Dulwich. Phone and all. Paid for 16 days, £170. So with no campsites, etc., it works out well, and we can sell the van at our convenience. Back to Crystal Palace for the night, our last night in van. So from our new base, a little flat near the Elephant and Castle tube station, we got to see much more of London, the Tower of London, up to Greenwich, lots of typical sights, and we even got to see a musical. Also lucky to book in for Starlight Express at only £7.50. I believe we'll be in it, but sounds okay. Normal tickets to shows were £22, to Cats as well. Look forward to it. Tubes do get you around well. Nice to have the flat to come home to.
Starlight Express. Do you remember anything of that show?
Yeah, I really do.
What about the roller skates?
Yeah. I just remember, it was surrounding, they'd come from all sides.
Tearing down these, right next to us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I remember it well.
Actually, it was a good show. Probably better. We were looking at trying to get into Cats, I think it was.
Yeah.
And the fellow said, no, you can't get in there because it's all sold out.
Right.
And he had a chat to your mum about how old we were and so on and so forth. He said, look, this would be the best thing you could do.
Yeah.
So that's how we ended up.
He was probably right, because if I remember it 40 years on.
Yeah. I remember the rattling of those skates as they zoomed fast. That's what I remember.
Yeah, I
couldn't
still
tell you what
remember
the
that
music
either.
was like.
Yeah. We spent another week or so in London. We caught up with our London friends from the bank, and we were trying to sell our camper van. We almost did, but ended up having to leave it on consignment with Derek and Roland, the original car yard who sold it to us. But it all worked out well, and then it was time to leave Europe. Cleaned flat, etc., dropped off van and off to airport. Leave 10 p.m, good flight, not much sleep, and landed Singapore 6:15 p.m. Friday. Weather 29 degrees, a real change. To hotel, Changi Airport, very smart. And really good, 2 double rooms with connecting door. Bought fried rice back to room and all enjoyed that. And the next day, walked up Orchard Road, looked at shops, very different from Hong Kong. A lot of department stores. In afternoon, went to Sentosa Island, looked at Coral and Wax Museum. Coral lovely. Ride on monorail around island, tropical plants and very green. And Singapore on the way home.
On the way home. Cable car, yes. The monorail.
I like Singapore.
Pretty clean, as I remember it last time I was there.
Yes, agreed. But Sentosa Island is expensive.
Yep.
And then it was time to return to Australia after 6 months away. Off to plane 5 p.m. Good trip home, and about 2 a.m. through customs and really home about 4 a.m. Wow, what a fabulous house. Really looks delightful. Lorraine and Helen made it look fabulous, and flowers from Unca and Terry. Quiche from Lorraine, which will be terrific tomorrow. We are so lucky to have super friends, a lovely home, peaceful area, no traffic after England, super trip, but lovely to be back. And the last photo in our album is a picture of the 4 of us in our living room at 4:30 a.m. with huge grins on our faces. Home.
4:30 in the morning.
God.
We're probably a bit beat by then.
I bet we were. Oh, at least we'd only come from Singapore, though.
Oh, yeah.
Nice curtains.
I was going to say, where the curtains
Who chose them?
Isn't it funny how times go by and tastes change?
Yes.
That's absolutely gross.
I know that's the thing, isn't it? I'm sure in the 70s they were great, but how could anyone ever think they were great? You'll have to check the show notes for this photo for your own opinion on the curtains, but you'll also see we were obviously so happy to be home again. Also happy to have had such a brilliant experience. As I have said numerous times, this was just an utterly life-changing experience for me. I actually feel quite emotional finishing off this series because it's been so special to celebrate it. I am full of gratitude to my parents for making it happen. It wasn't something that was common in the 80s at all, and we certainly weren't filthy rich or anything. It was a sacrifice to do it, but also just a huge privilege, of course, that we could. And it shaped so many of my views about the world and of course lit that travel bug flame in me, and that will never go out. Big thanks to Context Travel, the series sponsor, for their support in creating these special podcast episodes. You can find out more about their tours at contexttravel.com or find them under Context Travel on your social media platform of choice. If you want to try a Context tour yourself, remember you can get a 15% discount by using the code ThoughtfulTravel when you book online. So thank you so much for listening to episode 370 of the Thoughtful Travel podcast. Huge thanks to my dad for sitting down with me to chat about our long ago trip. Lots of photos in the show notes. For this episode, you can find the show notes at notaballerina.com/370. And of course, come and join the Facebook or LinkedIn groups where we'll be chatting more about all kinds of things thoughtful travel, and sign up for the newsletter at thoughtfultravel.substack.com. As always, thank you so much for listening. This has been another episode of the Thoughtful Travel podcast. Show notes and other information are at notaballerina.com/podcast. Join me again soon for another chat about why we travel. Bye for now.